Hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, close your eyes and feel that you're drifting into a deep, comfortable, relaxing state. That's right, breathing in, that feeling of calm and resourcefulness, and allowing your body to release any tension in your outward breath, slowly but surely taking you deeper and deeper, relaxed. That's right. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that you are outdoors on a meadow on a sunny day with blue skies and just a few fluffy white clouds. Imagine there you are, and you can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, and perhaps you can feel a gentle breeze, and maybe smell whatever smells relate to nature. And perhaps you can hear perhaps the occasional bee, the chirping of a bird, and perhaps wind just breezing through the leaves of some nearby trees. And I want you to imagine that as far as you can see, there is just acres and acres, miles and miles of just plain fields. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that somewhere nearby is just the most comfortable bed that you can imagine. And of course, it's a strange thing to see a bed out in nature on a sunny day where there are just fields and fields, where there is nothing in particular growing in the fields just yet. But there, in the fields, is just a well-made, comfortable bed with clean sheets, a comfortable duvet, and perhaps the softest pillows that you've ever seen. And I want you to imagine that you climb on the bed, rest your head on the pillow, look up into the sky, seeing those fluffy white clouds and noticing those fluffy white clouds do what they do when you allow your imagination to have fun. You can start seeing strange shapes in the fluffy white clouds there in the sky. And very soon, I will count down from 5 to 1, and you will imagine what it could be like to fall asleep in a comfortable bed outside on a sunny day there in nature. As you're looking up at those fluffy white clouds in that bright blue sky, feeling the sun there on your skin, feeling with each and every breath you're going deeper and deeper relaxed, you will imagine what it could be like to fall asleep in a bed, breathing in that fresh countryside air out there in nature. Breathing in, breathing out as I count down from 5 to 1. 5, going deeper and deeper relaxed. 4, feeling that you are about to drift off into a deep, imaginative sleep. 3, deeper and deeper relaxed now as you feel your arms and legs just sinking into that soft mattress, taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. 2, and then 1, imagine just drifting off to sleep there in that bed outside in the countryside, surrounded by empty fields. That's it. And I want you to imagine that your dreamlike state is taking you upwards, so you can see now yourself lying in a bed, and you almost have a bird's eye perspective of you asleep in the bed in the middle of acres and acres of empty fields. Feel that you're going back down there to the fields and just walking around the fields. And imagine that you are holding an apple in your hand. Just a single, solitary apple there in your hand. And as you take a bite into the apple, imagine feeling your teeth bite into the crispness of the apple, tasting the tanginess of that apple, perhaps even noticing the apple-like scent coming from the apple. Again, feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, and feel how good it feels to just taste a natural, delicious, tangy apple. As you're walking around these fields, I want you to get a sense that one of these fields is your field. And when you're finished with the apple, just imagine that you're digging a small hole and putting the apple core there in the ground. And you put some soil back over the apple core. And all you do is allow nature to do what nature is able to do. That when you plant the right seeds in the right environment, then even if just one of those several seeds there in the apple core just starts to germinate and perhaps sprouts and then perhaps take root, there is the very possibility that perhaps months in the future, a shrub will just start to emerge from the soil. And if that tiny stem is protected, watered, and looked after, just imagine that within 2 or 3 years there is a very small apple tree. And it dawns on you that, to begin with, there is no expectation of any fruit coming from that small apple tree. You completely accept and understand that, to begin with, your only expectation is that the tree has the possibility, not the guarantee, of just growing. It's only later, when the tree becomes established and the roots so deep that it is possible that this tree will eventually bear fruit. And I want you to imagine that you are activating the emotional state of patience. And as the idea of patiently waiting for something to grow and develop, you're reminded of a story that you heard once about the idea of investing. It's been said that if someone at the age of 20 years old invested 100 of any currency, £100, $100, €100 every month into perhaps some kind of investment or pension, that by the time they reach 30, it would take someone new at the age of 30 to invest at that point for the rest of their life, and they would still not catch up with the person that only invested 100 every month from the age of 20 to 30. And allow that seed of an idea of the power of compounding to be planted deep in your subconscious mind, that sometimes when you do the right things, it takes time before the miracle of compounding can actually bear fruit. I want you to imagine that several years have gone by, and now you can see a small apple tree that, in its first year of bearing fruit, produces 100 apples. And I want you to think of a dilemma. You could choose to eat those 100 apples. You could choose to sell 100 apples. Or you could choose to plant 100 apples. And you certainly have enough space in this large field. Because many people, when they start earning money, perhaps in their first few jobs, are very focused on spending that money. And some people will save some of that money, but very few will invest the majority of that money. And I want you to think of eating these apples in the same way as you could imagine spending any income that you accumulate. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to invest money that you no longer have because it's already spent. And for the purpose of this dream, just imagine that you take 100 apples and you plant 100 apples in 100 different locations somewhere else in this empty field. To begin with, nothing would happen. But as the days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months, some of those apples will have their seeds germinate, take root, and start to sprout. And I want you to imagine, in a few years, some of those apples will have turned into trees, each bearing 100 apples themselves. But the original tree would be much bigger at that point, perhaps even producing 500 apples. So not only could you choose to plant the new apples in the new trees, but you could also plant more of those apples in the original tree that is now bigger. And I want you to imagine that as the years grow, your field that was once empty, producing nothing for anybody, now has hundreds and hundreds of apple trees. And at that point, there are so many trees producing so many thousands of apples that at that point, you could eat as many apples as you would choose to. And you could sell as many apples as you would want to, and there would still be apples left over that you could plant somewhere else in this field. And perhaps you could make so much money selling the excess apples that you could buy neighboring fields in neighboring land and plant even more apples that in time would turn into their own trees, producing yet more apples. And you can imagine that if each of these apple trees represented a source of potential income for you. Many people give up on the journey of investing because in those early days and weeks when the seed is just taking root, because they don't see an instant return of the tree bearing fruit, they just get bored and walk away, leaving the apple tree to grow and never returning to pick the fruit. And I want you to imagine that these apple trees could represent businesses, investments, products that you create, and that you are activating the quality, the resource of patience. Patience and a desire to reinvest whatever your investments or businesses produce. For that is how you can turn an empty field into a flourishing orchard. And I want you to imagine hovering up over the orchard, perhaps like a bird or one of those drones with a video camera, and I want you to see that as time has gone by, the empty field that originally was just one tree is now, as far as the eye can see, filled with apple tree after apple tree, producing thousands and thousands and thousands of apples every single year. The trap that most people fall into when they think about investing is they think of investing as gambling rather than growing. And from this point onwards, you will have a new perspective of the power of compounding, the power of reinvesting your profits to grow into yet more profits, which can then grow into even more profits, until it reaches a point that you can spend as much of that profits as is possible, and the profits will still grow. Gambling is for a different mentality in a different situation, and some people choose to gamble for fun. But just know that gambling does not grow in the way that a seed, when planted, can grow into a tree bearing fruit that can then be planted to create yet more trees. And allow this seed of an idea to take root in your subconscious mind, that in whatever area of your life, business, or wealth strategy, you will start planting trees. And you will have the patience to allow these trees to grow, and you will have the inclination to take whatever fruit these trees bear and plant to create even more trees in the future. Allow the power of compounding to grow within you. It was Einstein that once said that one of the miracles of modern life is the power of compounding. Compounding simply means allowing what grows to be reinvested and grow even more. Allowing exponential growth. Because after maybe 20 or 30 years, when there are hundreds and hundreds of trees producing thousands and thousands of apples, if you chose to, you could plant tens of thousands of new apples, and in a few years, that would create tens and thousands of more trees. And allow that idea of compounding to grow within your subconscious mind. Why would you want to eat just one apple or eat 100 apples if you could plant them to create tens of thousands of apples in the future? Many people are too quick to spend whatever they earn. But imagine investing what you earn into opportunities that can grow and become so much more valuable, that each and every year they just continue to bear fruit for you. And then just remember that this is just a dream within a dream, as you remember that there you are, sleeping on a comfortable bed in an empty field, and as you look up from that bed, see that the field is empty, because nothing grows unless something is planted. And you will have awoken a desire to start planting whatever represents growth and opportunity in your life. And then recall that this is just an idea within your imagination, and actually you are wherever you are right now, listening to my voice. And in a few moments' time, I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. But you will awaken with a desire to create your own orchard. Except for apple trees, it could be anything that gives you the potential to grow beyond that initial seed into something so much bigger. Investments, businesses, new products, new ideas. Allow the idea of growing something from virtually nothing to take root deep in your subconscious mind. You will awaken feeling resourceful, feeling that so long as you have time and patience on your side and a long-term perspective, you can grow infinite wealth simply by choosing to reinvest whatever can give you more of the same. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.